If three major Walking Dead spin-offs wasn't enough for you, then do not worry, because Scott Gimple plans on doing more. Welcome back, guys, to Fog Entertainment. And if you thought you'd seen the last of the Walking Dead and all these new crappy spin-offs, then you are mistaken, because Scott Gimple has said that the future is bright for The Walking Dead, and he has envisioned doing more spin-offs. More spin-offs will happen, and he plans on doing them all over the globe. Now, I think The Walking Dead at this point has been absolutely milked. There's nothing left in the others. You ain't getting any more milk out of them. You know, you got to just let it go. You got to find a new cow at this point, AMC. But for some reason, they're continuing to push The Walking Dead. We know that we got the original, we then got Fear, they did some other stuff, they did that Woke Beyond, and then I think there was one more in there they did. Then we got the new shows, Daryl Dixon, Dead City, The Ones Who Live, and Scott Gimple's not done there. He's talking about another Walking Dead show, but he wants to expand it. He wants to move into international territories and not just Europe. He wants to go beyond Europe. He wants to go into Asia, and he wants to go into Africa. Now, I mean, the problem with that is it's all the same shit. Now, yes, you may have different locations, you might have different landmarks, you might have different looking people in these different continents, but for the most part, it's the same shit. It is the same shit. 15, 20 years later, you got the same fucking boring ass zombies and the same boring ass characters. It doesn't make any sense to me. If you want to start a new show, then why wouldn't you start a show from the beginning? You can introduce us to characters, and we can see how their story pans out over the years. We can see how they react to the initial outbreak. We can see how they have to adapt. We can see how they have to deal with loss and death and all that shit. How they have to, go beyond what their capabilities are. How they have to change themselves in order to protect their families. We don't get that. 15 years later, when you do all these spin-offs in the future, 15 years after the apart, these characters are already maxed out, and it's so dumb when you watch the spin-offs and you see these these red shirt characters that can't handle one zombie. It's like, Jesus Christ. I mean, look at the people in Rick's group. They were handling zombies in season 3 like they were pros. 15 years later, all these nobodies can't even take care of one. It just doesn't make any sense. Why would you want to see a zombie apocalypse like 15 years in the future when people have already lost their husbands or their wives or their brothers or their sisters or their parents or their sons, daughters, their best friends or their animals, their pets, like their communities? They've had like horrible things done to them. You want to see that. You want to see how characters grow, or I guess, I know the opposite of grow, guys. I don't know, help me out here. But we want to see how they either grow or they, break. And we just don't get to see that, man. I think it's so dumb doing all these spin-offs in the future when there's just nothing really there. It's like everything feels the same. Everyone's already adapted. Everyone's already maxed out in this zombie apocalypse. They're all zombie pros. No one should be feeling anything. It's like, I mean, look at the original Walking Dead. Look at what we get to see Rick go through. Let's say you watch Rick 15 years later. You can't experience Rick waking up for the first time, Rick being found by Morgan, Rick encountering his first zombie, Rick seeing his first zombie get killed, Rick getting saved, Rick meeting up with his family, Rick having the Shane thing and having to put down his best friend, cheating on his wife, Rick having his first human kill, the feuds with the governor and, him seeing real evil people and all that stuff for the first time. You don't get that because 15 years into an apocalypse, all that shit's already happened. So I just think it's really dumb. But here's Scott Gimple. What's he got to say about another yet-to-be titled spin-off? He said, quote, "There's ones that we're working on that I'm very, very excited to see that we've never been before, but I'd also love to see it in Tokyo. I would love to see it in Africa, and I would love to see it in Iceland. I know it's a weird one, but we want to spam the globe because there's stories all over the globe. End of quote. But there's not. I mean, you can make a story anywhere. You know, you can. It doesn't matter whether you have the show in Iceland or you have the show in Pakistan. The story can be the same. The story is whatever you make it. But it's just so boring and uneventful. And like again, you know that a new spin-off is going to be in the current timeline. And it's like, why? Why not give us a new spin off from the very beginning with original characters that we get to see moulded in front of our very own eyes? We don't want characters that are already around, characters that have been through everything. There's nothing exciting there. Honestly, man, I just don't get it. The Walking Dead, I have no interest in seeing another show unless they do, like I said, and they start from the beginning. They give us a brand new, new whole original cast members and all that stuff, and we start from the very beginning. And ideally, I mean, I would like to see them focus more on the initial outbreak, but of course they don't do that. They budget cuts, so they don't want to be in the big cities and the heavily populated areas. But how good would it be if you could dedicate a whole season 1 to pretty much just the outbreak of the apocalypse? Because we never got to see it in the original show because Rick wakes up in a coma, and then in Fear, you know, they kind of just skipped past it very quickly and they moved them to like some outpost. I'd like to actually see the beginning of a zombie apocalypse and just to see how everything goes down. But anyway, guys, that's what I think. Let me know what you think down below. Been Fog Entertainment. We'll catch you in the next one, and until then, peace.